What's up? I gotta think of a name for Miles. People who follow me. There's what do they call them? Kitty cats who like Katy Perry, and then Lady Gaga calls her fans monsters. What should I call my fans? Milesennials? Maybe we could take some suggestions on the chat, and if you pay a ton of money, then I'll take your suggestion because I will use that money to fight capitalism. All right, I'm going through the questions here. This is how we do this, right? You know, I was watching Decoded the other day. I'll probably do a video about this, and they were talking about how light-skinned blacks are treated much better than dark-skinned blacks, and there's not enough dark-skinned blacks. And I realized when I was watching it that I half hate mulattoes. Like I hate white people because they're racist, and I love black people, dark black people, because they're never racist. But half black people are half white, and half white people are half racist. So I think we need to start persecuting light-skinned people of color. You know, focusing on the beige lattes and their culpability. Because if there was reparations, then I think we should charge mulattoes half. And octoroons should be charged an eighth. So just because you're black doesn't mean you get a pass. You still owe darker blacks reparations. All right, let's click on that first one that's got tons of money. This is from Matthew Snyder, a very perceptive guy who clearly doesn't need to go to lens crafters anytime soon. He said, "You were stunning and brave. I'm making the future is effet malice shirts to stand in solidarity with one of our sisters. Want me to send you one?" Yes, I do. And I think one of the most important things when you hear about the incredible works of effet malice is just to take a second and Google them and make sure that you have, oh, wait a minute, I get it, effete males. Yeah, I do know who that is. I thought it was an African activist. Yeah, I do believe the future is effete males, and I thought this was brought up by a woman named Amy Siskind, who said that if you want to run for office and be a politician and you're a white male, step back. And then, you know, let people of color and women do it. She had a guy fired for disagreeing with her, or tried to. But that's one of the reasons I haven't had a job in a long time. Because I've been offered a lot. I've had a lot of opportunities. I've been borrowing money from my brother and focusing on blogging. But every time I get an opportunity, I say, "Have you asked a black woman yet?" And whenever they say no, which is 100% of the time, I say, "Sorry, not interested." This is even dishwasher jobs. And once I know that they have tried every person of color and every woman, then yes, then I'll say, yes, I'll take the job. And I feel that way about breeding. Or if I'm about to have a baby or if someone wants to have sex with me to breed, I'd say, is it going to be female? Will it be a woman of color? If the answer is no, then I take my condom off and I go home. What else do we got here? This is fun. You just click on the number and you get right to the thing. Why didn't you tell me that? This is from Double Dog Bear. By the way, my brother's going to be on Owen Benjamin. What's his name? The bear guy? Who's always like, "Yeah, Jews didn't land on the moon. I'm a bear."
Dude, if you believe in the moon landing, you're literally...
If you believe in the moon... Wait, if you believe in the... Come over here for a second, Miles. This is, we're making fun of Owen Benjamin right now because he's racist. By the way, don't go on your knees like that. It looks like you performed fellatio on me.
Dude, if you believe in the moon landing, you're an actual retard. And a sodomite and a Jew. That's my Owen Benjamin impression.
Your bangs look like a magnet trick. They look like someone screwed up the drawing and left a bunch of pencil shavings above your eyes. Why do you do that? Why is there a layer of fur under your hat?
So, to fight the future.
That's a level of insecurity that is usually reserved for teens, and you're 29. Bangs, hiding your eyes in bangs is, my understanding was that was for teens. Anyway, I'm starting to sound like my brother here. Please sit down. For basically like millennials or whatever, do you like actually realize that I can't even or like literally whatever right now? I don't blame you, dude. I'm like that every fucking day. Thanks to Captain Cheeto in the White House. Every time he opens his mouth, I think, wow, you just topped yourself. Like today, he said no one thanked him for giving John McCain a funeral. Now, I'm against war, and I hated John McCain before Trump, but now that Trump's here, John McCain's a war hero. He fought for this country. He bled for this country. You know, when he was dying, I heard that Ryan Katsu Rivera visited him in the hospital and said, "On your feet, soldier!"
Oh, no.
And it didn't work, unfortunately. Why is Rebel Media such a terrible news network? That's an excellent question, actually. I would say top of the list because it's racist. Secondly, because it's anti-Semitic. Ezra Levant is a Nazi. Thirdly, there's no trans people working there. And there was a job fair recently in New York for trans people to hand in their trans applications and hear about trans jobs, which again, I'm not interested in a job if it could go to a trans person. And I didn't see Rebel there. No siree. How many people are even handicapped at that fucking place? What else do we got? Can Ryan Cat scratch fever? I get it, it's a pun. His name's Ryan Katsu Rivera. His Japanese father left him at a young age, but he retained the name. Can Ryan Cat scratch fever do impressions of that white loser Simon Roche of Swedlanders when he's getting all passionate? Are you familiar with Simon Roche?
No.
It's probably some Nazi guy in it. This is a trick. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do the impression. Okay, Sacramento resistance. Right on, brothers. Uhuru. Do you feel our comrade Eric Clanton's actions were justified, and to what extreme should we, the resistance, draw the line to the amount of violence and tactics we're using to resist? Finally, a good question. I would, first of all, like to paraphrase Tim Kaine, who says we need to fight them on the streets. I'd like to paraphrase Maxine Waters, who says go to their house and scream shit at them. I'd like to paraphrase Eric Holder, who says when they go low, kick them in the balls. All of these people understand that the DNC of yesteryear has passed. This is not your mommy and daddy's DNC anymore. This is war. War. We have to destroy them. If you see a Nazi, punch him in the face. If you see an old lady with a MAGA hat, stab her. If you see a baby with a Trump shirt, pick it up and whip it over a bridge. If you see a dog that looks like it might like Donald Trump, kick it in the head and then eat it. There's no limit to our actions. And the beauty of Eric Clanton is he got in there with his bike lock, did the damage, and then got out. And then a bunch of 4chan autistic weirdos stalked him and got him fired. Isn't it funny how Antifa and the resistance always gets in trouble for getting people fired, but they get Eric Clanton fired? Or they got the head of Portland Resistance, Mika Rhodes, fired, claiming he raped a bunch of couples a bunch of times? Yeah, sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they get Sean King fired from the National Black Coalition of people that are black. Andrew Bailey has a funny face on in his avatar. Is it still okay to listen to music of horrible abusers? Thinking specifically of Gary Glitter. It's wrong to listen to Gary Glitter because that's boomer music, and we have moved on. We have stuff like whatever Pitchfork is talking about this week. And like gay dudes like that Orange guy or whatever. That guy called Orange. What's his name? The black guy? Frank Orange or something?
Frank Ocean?
Ocean, yeah, that guy. We have modern stuff to listen to. So, no, you shouldn't listen to Gary Glitter. You shouldn't listen to Michael Jackson. But I think one thing that a lot of people do with pedophilia is they like to vilify homosexuals. Like with the Catholic Church, they'll point out that they don't rape little girls. They rape post-pubescent boys, molest post-pubescent boys or pubescent boys, and that they're closeted gays. So I actually don't like a lot of this pedophile bashing because it ends up being an evolution of gay bashing. I think we have to recognize that we shouldn't be the arbiters of justice, at least when it comes to sexuality. We should be the arbiters of justice when it comes to wages and who gets thrown in jail for saying offensive shit. But as far as sexuality goes, I don't know. I mean, are you a pedophile? I saw a great thing on Salon that was talking about a pedophile who said, "Don't call me a child molester. I never molested a child. I just ran to the bathroom and beat off." And I thought, that's a hero. Thank you, Salon. Thanks for that. And, you hear a lot of these rape gangs and the molesting children in Luton, Tommy Robinson does. And I feel like that's just a way for him to bash Muslims and to bash the Prophet. They keep saying, oh, Muhammad's wife was 9, blah, blah. He didn't consummate till she was at least 12. So can we drop the 9-year-old thing? So I think it's important to give pedophiles a second chance, because you might be looking at a gay or a Muslim or a religious figure. I like doing these with beers. So that's Andrew. Thanks a lot, Broham. Jalen. Sounds like a chick. By the way, send nudes if you're a woman or a man or trans. Believable trans, if you pass, send nudes. Not in a creepy Me Too way, in a sexual way. I'll send you nudes. I'm very open sexually. I lived in Quebec for 10 years. Jalen Helteman. Do you think women should use urinals like men? Yes. And then you can get some incredible cups now. The technology, even in the past 5 years, for what's called SPU, stand pissing urination. There are these little latex rubber cups that you put on your vagina, and they spout out there. And sometimes you don't even have to know. I've actually seen one that's a funnel, right? But the front of it is shaped like a large prosthetic. So you can, as a woman, a trans woman, you can piss into the funnel and then look at the guy next to you and be like, what's up? And then if he looks down, he sees a legit dick. And that's ironic because a lot of these homophobes that are at the urinals are legit dicks. Brent Gold 3, from your brother Gavin's alt scale, where would Gavin put Alex Jones in prison? And where would Miles put Alex Jones? That's an interesting question. From your brother Gavin's alt scale, where would Gavin put Alex Jones and where would Miles... Oh, I'm caught up now. P.S. You skipped my first super chat, you beta cuck. That hurt. Ryan, you should get on all these and make sure I say them all. I'm just clicking the numbers at the top. What's going on?
Gotta go to Chris. Here's one of them.
What? Simmer down. I'm not done this one, penis face. Brent Gold 3. So, when you say alt scale, do you mean like looks? Or, does he mean like how alt-right they are?
Yeah.
I would put both Alex Jones, my brother would likely put both Alex Jones and Miles into new right, which has been called by the Nazis alt-light. That's what the alt-right calls my brother and his friends. And I don't think you should fall for that. They claim that they're not anti-Semitic, and they claim they're multiracial, and they just really want smaller government, and they have libertarian values, but they're wary of Islam, and they are wary of open borders. That's all a lie. As Joe Biden would say, they'd love to have you all back in chains. So the second you fall for anything that comes from anyone right of me, you are basically advocating slavery. And by the way, slavery permeates everything we do. This is slavery, probably. Actually, this computer was made by child slaves, right?
So now...
Theodos, shut up! As long as I'm doing them, then I'm getting to them, right?
I think so.
Right. If I'm sitting here going, I know I'm starting to sound like my brother right now, especially when I talk to you, especially when you do stupid shit. But I'll come to you if I'm out, if I haven't read one. Does that sound legit?
Sure.
Does that sound woke?
Yeah.
Okay. Theodosius. Will the 10th Crusade be awesome because it cancels Israel, or racist because it cancels Islam? To quote Henry Kissinger, can't they both lose? No, I'm just kidding. I want Israel to die in an inferno. Actually, what I would like to do, if I was magic, I would send every Jew in Israel to... Do they go to heaven? To heaven. And then I would just have Palestinians move into their apartments the next day. And the Hamas would just become the Israeli army. They'd take off the Star of David's or whatever and put on like a Yasser Arafat's face or something. And I guarantee you, if we could just make Israel pure Palestine, that it wouldn't turn into a complete shithole with sewers overflowing and people killing each other and constant fires and rock throwing and rape and danger and poverty and entire corporations lost, entire businesses, entire industries lost, like their cell phone advances. No, that wouldn't happen. They would rock. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Gavin, we've seen this happen in other places, like South Africa. The Marxists took over, and they're all starving to death. And the white farmers are dying. And I go, yeah, that's racist. Easy. It's so easy to argue with people on the right. Because everything they say, they have all these fancy words and they have all their facts and research. And you just go, yeah, that's racist. And they go, oh shit, you nailed it. Broke Knights. I am a no map. That's a hashtag/acronym for non-offending minor attracted person. Excellent. See, we need more of these people. I think queer theory can include a lot of sexuality, and that includes kids. How can we officially get recognized in LGBTQ+? What should be the process for people to recognize my struggle? I'm not a bad person. I just love. I think there's always been a window for those who find children attractive. I think we've seen that with Abby Hoffman endorsing NAMBLA when he was pushing for free speech. Look at a lot of the sort of progenitors of queer theory. You hear a lot of pro-kitty stuff in there. You know, look at Tom Hanks in Big. He was a little kid. He almost had sex with a grown woman. Why is it so wrong? Anyway, here's what we really have to focus on, okay? Bathrooms for trans people, gay marriage, gay adoption, getting more Syrian refugees in here, opening our borders more, and giving everyone who needs it welfare. Everyone who is either not working or not willing to work. Why is that so wrong? Why does the right hate the idea of a starving child being able to eat a sandwich? Explain that to me. They say they're pro-life, and then a little black boy says, more gruel, sir. And they go, fuck you, and they punch him in the head. That's why I say punch a Nazi. It's not a random act. It's punch back. Because every time someone who supports Trump opens their mouth, it's like you know those boxing gloves that are on the hinges that go boing, joom, like in a cartoon? With the little things, like the little X things, boop, 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 boop. You know those like extenders? That fist on a boxing glove is in a Trump supporter's mouth. And it might not be visible, but it's systemic. And every time he opens his mouth, like that, it extends the little bendy thing, the Rube Goldberg doohickey, and then there's a glove at the end. It goes poof, right into a black kid's head. Is that okay with you? Do you want some black kid punched in the head? Because that's what you do every time you say no welfare. Anyway, Corbel, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. Mad rad. I love Madison. I love their politics. You know, the amount of fuck Fox News bumper stickers you see there. And you know what's amazing about Madison? It's not just the incredible protests they have, like that one with the teachers where they were throwing stuff everywhere and screaming at everyone because teachers don't get paid enough. They only make like $60 an hour when you factor in the actual hours they work. Our children are valuable. Our children are our future. They should make $120 an hour. And they only get 4 months off. Why? If you're working that hard with our most precious resource, children, as Greta Thunberg pointed out, remember that? She said you care about our children. Then why are we only giving them 2 months off in the summer? Does any of this make sense to you? They should have 4 months off in the summer and another 2 months during the year. And they should get off at 2 instead of 3:20. Anyway, Corbel, I'm from Mad Rad, and they just had a children's march here. Ooh, for like the Greta thing? When will Republicans understand that we're dumb and kids are smart and we need a toddler in the White House? Not a toddler. You're starting to sound sarcastic, my friend. But Greta Thunberg at that, what was it again? The Polish thing? The UN climate conference?
COP something. It was in Sweden.
It was a beautiful acronym, COPIAC. And she got up there and she said, you are not mature enough to understand that we need a future for the earth. She got Jamaican towards the end, which I thought was badass.
COP24.
COP24. And it was just beautiful the way she pointed out that we become the dumb ones and they've become the smart ones. And then they had 1.2 million people around the world say, I'm not going to school today. I'm laughing at a different joke I heard another day. But these kids got out there and they really showed that they can really care when it comes to not going to school and screaming something. That was fucking amazing. You'll notice, by the way, a lot of these kids, when the protest involves not going to school, they really show their passion for politics. And that's why they need to be in the ballot box. And not just voting, on the actual card. Greta Thunberg, she should be the president of Sweden. Sweden, carbon free by 2024. The Earth won't be here in 2024, Sweden. You have to be carbon free now. I'm free to offend anyone. Which do you want to see? Yvette Malarkey? I believe he means Yvette Falarca, who is the woman, the little Filipino teacher who, she's sort of like the anti-Michelle Malkin. And she runs By Any Means Necessary with the mayor of Berkeley together. They help stop oppression, like Milo coming back to town. And that's incredible. And I've seen her physically fight racists. This is just a tiny little Asian woman. She's incredible. So, who do you want to see? Yvette Falarca versus Chuck Norris? No, Yvette Falarca and Chuck Norris versus Rufio and Based Stickman. Or Trigglypuff and Smugglypuff versus Tiny and Gavin. I forget who Smugglypuff is. Trigglypuff was this girl going like this, who is a friend of mine, actually. We made love in a polyamorous relationship that eventually fell apart, unfortunately. Oh, I know Smugglypuff. She's that smug chick. Yes, and she does a very... She's plus size, so when she gives the finger, it looks like a pile of dough telling you to fuck off. Tiny and Gavin, now I know my brother is a geriatric, but I feel like he could get some pretty good punches in. And Tiny, of course, they're referring to Tiny Twetse of the band Angry Samoans. And he's quite a pugilist and he enjoys a fight. I think that would be murder, the second one, if Tiny and my brother were to fight those two fat feminists. Rufio and Base Stickman versus... Is Cuck Norris not Chuck Norris? That's a different guy? This is all... Both of those would be cruel. I'm actually... I think Cuck Norris. My brother is a saint. Oh, that's the guy who kicked the woman who was pregnant and said... we do this all the time when we talk about abortion. We say, if someone was raped, should they keep the baby? It's a great way to get the point across. See, what a lot of us do when we're confronting people like racists or sexist, pregnant sexists, is we make it fun. So we don't just say, okay, what about this? What if a woman was raped? Should she have the right to abort the baby? That's boring. We go, so, woman raped, keep the baby or nah? That's more fun. And then, of course, if she says no, you do a Broadway kick. Like Casual Fall. Send her phone right back to where her baby should go, which is Miscarriage Town. So Yvette Falarcus and Chuck Norris versus Rufio and Base Stickman. I've got some bad news for you. I can tell you're being sarcastic and you think you're a smartass. Women are badass, my friend. Women kick ass all the time. And the days of men being the tough guys are long gone. Yvette Falarca would pick up Rufio Panman. This is this Proud Boy who I saw knock out several Antifa they had these collapsible batons and they were just saying, hey, excuse me, can you move? Poof. He knocked them out and turned them into vegetables just because they were trying to protest him and ask him a question using some weapons. Yvette Falarca would pick up Rufio and he'd be going, whoa, what the? And she'd spin him around really fast. It would start out slow, but then it would get faster and faster and faster. It would look like it was being in fast forward. And then she would throw him. And then she'd go, remember when I said by any means necessary? Throwing's a mean. And then Base Stickman would be there, with his stick. I'm Base Stickman. Trump. And then Cuck Norris would go, should you remain conscious? Yeah or nah? And Base Stickman would go, and then Cuck Norris would just go, boom, and Broadway kick him out. So I'd like to see that. My second favorite, number 2 choice, would be Trigglypuff, Tiny, and Gavin. First of all, Gavin would get there with his old, I'm a boxer. I like to box. I'm George Burns. And Trigglypuff would just go, poof, 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 and not just knock him out, but keep pounding him into the ground. You'd come by later and you go, oh, is that the miscarriage from that pregnant chick who got kicked in the belly? No, that's Gavin McInnes. That's what's left of him. Jam. She turned him into Gavin Jam. And then, of course, Smuglypuff with Tiny would just be a shit show because he would get there with his big Samoan fist, and Smuglypuff would just go, foom, 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 and just tire him out. And then when he was just like, oh man, that's a lot of missing, she'd just go, whoosh, poof, and he would go, birds, tweeting, back to Samoa you go, my friend. Does that answer your question? Whoa, this is guys paying $50 Canadian, which is over 13 American dollars. It's sort of like Zimbabwean dollars over there. You know, people complain about Mugabe and how he killed the white farmers. Do you know how many billionaires live in Zimbabwe now? It's got more billionaires than any, when you use Zimbabwean money. It's got more billionaires than any other place in the world. And I know what you're saying, but Gavin, Miles, a cheeseburger is $14 million. It costs $10 million to make a phone call. Okay. Are there billionaires there, though? Was I right? Yes, I was. Jacob, will the outcome of the 2019 Canadian federal election make wearing browline glasses great again? I don't get it. What are browline glasses? Ryan, are you texting your girlfriend?
Mm-mm.
Who are you texting?
Client.
Oh, what is browline glasses? Is that like Fraulein glasses? I think what's going to happen in the 2019 federal election is Justin Trudeau will get back in again. I was very disappointed. Oh, I see. That he was caught with corruption and engaging in prostitution. But you have to understand, he was dealing with sexists from Libya. And that's the way you have to talk to sexists. You have to buy them prostitutes. It's disgusting, but it's the cost of doing business. And I think what's exciting about Justin Trudeau is that the women of Canada understand that we have had ugly people in office for too long, and that includes Pierre Trudeau. He wasn't remotely attractive. So I think women realize that we need a hunk in office. It doesn't matter if he's just a drama teacher who likes to snowboard with his friend Butts. And they'll get him back in office. And it's going to be fucking fantastic. It's going to be the opposite of America. It's going to be the opposite of Captain Cheeto. Free to Defend is back. My husband broke his back yesterday. Nothing has been funny. Thank you for that. Okay. What are your plans to rescue your brother's wife of color and return to the indigenous habitat he stole her from to make hate to her and seduce her with his incredible body that he doesn't deserve? Yeah, I am disappointed in my brother's wife for ignoring her Native American heritage. My brother's in the Knights of Columbus. Christopher Columbus massacred Indians. Isn't that kind of... That's like if you're black, like you were black and your husband was in the David Dukes and you just ignored it. It seems wrong to me. And I think that if I was, well, actually I did this the last time and I've worked to try to liberate her from her mistakes. And the last time I was at my brother's house, his wife was there and his kids were there, and they were doing toasts, very sort of white thing to do. I'd like to make a toast. Oh. And I stopped and I said, I'd like to make a toast too, but not to Gavin, to the American Indians of this room. And I stood up, and I didn't have peyote, but I had a plastic cup that I wrote peyote on in marker. And I said, hey, hey, hi, hey, 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 oh. Hey, hi, hey, 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 oh. Hey, hi, hey, 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 oh. And it's a Navajo song I had practiced and learned verbatim, word for word, memorized what it means. And it means, "O peaceful one, come home. O peaceful one, go to those who love you most," which is what I was trying to say to the American Indians in the room. And they ignored it. And my brother did this look, this really patronizing look where he sort of goes, and we went on with dinner, which was disgusting because it was full of meat and there was no vegan options. Rorick O'Brien, big fan. So I'm sorry, blah, blah. Please fix the flag. And I can't focus what you're saying. 6-year vet. Fuck America and fuck you. I don't support the troops. The troops are murderers. So I'm glad you hate this flag. Drink it in, murderer, baby killer. You make me sick. I love how they get a taste of their own medicine and they shit their little panties. Isn't that so telling? Such fragile snowflakes. Oh, you can go out to Hanoi and blow some kid's head off. But then when you see one little thing wrong, oh, there's an eagle wearing sunglasses. Oh, the flag wasn't folded properly. Oh, someone's burning the flag. Some student protesters are burning the flag. Ooh, and what do? You piss your little army pants. Well, fuck you. Oh, thank you for your service. Oh, Afghanistan was so scary. I never asked you to go there. Why do you love war so much? Ever ask yourself that question? Oh, life's a little more complicated when it gets thrown back in your face, isn't it? Fucking loser. By the way, have you ever noticed when they have those reunions for the soldiers who are at Pearl Harbor, none of them are remotely hot? Now compare them to Justin Trudeau. Who would you rather look at all day? Some World War II vet? Hey, I'm from World War II. Oh, I fought and died. Or Justin Trudeau, who's probably polyamorous. How often do you check your privilege? Every day. I have not worked in a year and a half because I feel that it's my job to help women of color. The anti-profit. Miles, help me start a small business to fight the globalists through wealth and creation and capitalism. Fight fire with fire, LOL. Short-term, grown-based crowdfunding investments. The only way we can win is working together. Yeah, I think one of the best ways to start a business, and by the way, communists and socialists are not adverse to money. But I think the best way we do that is we redistribute wealth. And you got to get a Patreon. You got to get crowdfunding. You got to get people to give you money. If you have a wealthy brother, you have to borrow money from him. Your parents. One thing I've done with my parents is I said, look, you're going to will me money when you die. Can I have 80% of it now? And it made my dad cry because he's such a bitch. But I got most of the money. And I'm using that, by the way, I got a nice apartment for a while. Because I'd been staying at my brother's house for a long time, so I deserved a nice apartment. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and I think a lot of young millennials sell themselves short. You deserve a big bedroom. You deserve to have no debt. You deserve to eat vegan food 3 times a day. These are your rights. You deserve entertainment. You deserve to be able to see a movie in the middle of the day when it's not packed. You deserve ice cream. You deserve sex. And, this is a thing that trans people say. If on your Tinder it says, like, preferences don't include trans, that's transphobic. If you don't want to have sex with black people, that's racist. If you don't want to have sex with me, that's a form of bigotry. And just like a Nazi, I should have the right to punch you. How are we doing here? Are we out of ones that pay? Because that's getting really tedious.
At the moment.
If I don't, I have to answer actual people.
I can start vetting the questions. If they're
No, I'll talk to the normal people. Just seems like, why are you guys so cheap? Why can't you pay? You know how much I pay for this cam girl I follow? Some nights I'll spend $100. I'm not a cheap ass like you. God. There we go. That's a lot better. Stop being cheap. Try to support full communism. How are we supposed to make money if you guys don't pay us? Do the math, shit for brains. This guy's super hot, way hotter than World War II vets. Alex Watts, Miles, you should play the rusty trombone on Ryan. That way you could play something cool and vintage with a person of color. That's really homophobic. Why did you laugh at that?
It's just the way you said it.
That's really disappointing.
I'm sorry.
And by the way, I would fillet, I believe a rusty trombone, that's not a blumpkin, right?
No, I think that's when you put your mouth in my butthole and then you, like, toot my pee-pee.
Alrighty. I'm not against that. That's a joke to you, a sexual act. I'm totally open to different sexual moves. And assuming that he had used a wet wipe, I have no problem with the rusty trombone. I would do it to an older guy. Patrick Estep wants me to read gay. Okay.
Oh, no, that's Gans.
Thanks, Ryan. Jesus Christ. Thoughts 81. Why are free markets so bigoted against the effort challenge? Yeah. Seems kind of ableist to me. You know, in Italy and in Barcelona, they take a lunch break for about 3 hours. And here in this fascist, basically slavery never ended. It just switched to other people. But it's still, actually it's mostly blacks. And it's still work. And then what do you get for lunch? 1 hour. You got to be there right at 9 or you're in big trouble. And then you have to work your butt off for 3 hours until noon. And then what do you get? 1 hour. Then it's back to the grind for 3 more hours. Bang, 3 hours. Bang, 3 hours. Boom. Fuck that. Yeah, you heard me. Fuck that. I want to be more like the siesta places where you can sleep for 3 hours. Maybe read a book, manifesto, maybe Netflix binge, and then go back to work. And I bet you it's more productive. So to answer your question, Thoth81, I have no idea why free markets are so bigoted. When someone sneezes in public, they look and sound like someone being hit by an assault sniper fire. Do you support trigger warnings on sneezing in public? Yes. I think that, you know how when I was in college, I went to Concordia, I took women's studies, and then I dropped out. But I would always get up, and if I had a controversial question, like how much should reparations be? And should mulattoes pay half? I would say, warning, insane question coming, and then I would ask it. And I think with a sneeze, I'd also say, I apologize. This is coming from a person of color. This is coming from a place of privilege. I'm not a person of color. I'm a middle class, cis, white male. And then I would say my thing. So I'd always apologize before I asked every question or made every statement in college. And I still do that today. Like if I ask a question to a speaker, I'll say, hi, my question is in 2 parts. And before I get to those 2 parts, first I'd like to say, we're very happy you're here. And thank you for coming. And I hate Trump. I would like to apologize in advance because this question is coming from a rich white male, blah, 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 blah. So how hard is it to just go, sorry, just throw a sorry out? It's sort of like your pronouns, like people say, oh, it's too much of a pain in the ass. I'm not using these pronouns, those pronouns. What I like to do is I have these contacts in my phone, like for Ryan, it says Ryan Katsu Rivera as just the first name, so I put the last name in the first name, and then for the last name, I write he, him. And so everyone's saved on your phone with their pronouns. So when you see someone, you're like, oh shit, there's Tarquin. And then you look down, and it's they, them. Oh. Hey Tarquin, how is they? Is that so hard? No. So it's not hard to yell sorry, or as they say in Canada, sorry, before you sneeze. This money better go to Miles, and not the rebel. They're total white supremacy fascists. I agree, and I don't think that any of this money is going to rebel. I don't know how much money is going to rebel. I hope none. And none of it's going to Gavin. This is all going to me, and I'm going to start a fund. I'm going to start a crowdfund called Fuck Capitalism. And what we do is we just all put money in together to try to end capitalism. And I'm pretty optimistic that we could do it. Because it's just a matter of money. That's why they get to stick to fossil fuels and get to have all these different people running the show. Because they've got the money. So if we could get the money, specifically me, then I could use that to say, like the next time Warren Buffett says, oh, we're going to use oil for another year, I could go, no, we're not actually. I'm paying for this. And then have a solar plane fly in. Fucking crash into its building. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we need our own socialist 9/11, where we take solar-powered planes and wind-powered helicopters, where the blades are the helicopters, and we go crashing into buildings like Goldman Sachs and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and all the billionaires, like Ralph Lauren. Miles, is your bro going on Owen Benjamin tonight? If so, that's racist. I believe he is going on Owen Benjamin, and yes, that is racist. It's racist to talk. It's racist to listen. Texted. What? Why are you telling me that in the middle of a thing?
Because he's using this. I didn't want you to feel weird.
What? You know, I have a lot of patience for you because you're a person of color, but sometimes I can see that if my brother was here, he'd be getting really fucking pissed off right now that you interrupted this to say everything's fine. And didn't he ask you to plug in his phone so he could charge it? All right. But that's not, see, I'm groovy with the coloreds, so I'm not mad, but boy, Gavin would be really tearing you a new ass right now. The Anti-Prophet. Oh, we already did that one. What's this one? Is that a lady's jacket, or did you have the shoulders taken in on some thrift store fatigues? First of all, I don't wear padded shoulders because I don't lie to people. And yes, coincidentally, this is a woman's J. Crew camouflage coat because when I shop gender-free, and I don't care where it comes from. Even with shoes, sometimes I'll wear sort of like peach Reeboks that are a young girl's because they're on sale, and I don't want to waste the environment. I thought that was just a given. Pick one to lock Gavin in a room with for 24 hours. Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, or AOC. Linda Sarsour comes with the room no matter what. Choose wisely. Well, that's an interesting thing, Alexandra Lecomte, because I would want to lock my brother in a room to raise awareness. Linda Sarsour would already be raising awareness about Islam and the power of Sharia. People tend to ignore the values of Sharia law, and Linda Sarsour is so good at that. Like, for example, no Jews, no interest rates. Because Muslims have a thing where someone borrows $400 and you pay them back $400. She pointed that out, and everyone ignored her because it was so anti-Semitic. Ew! Yeah, saving money is really anti-Semitic. Not getting ripped off is anti-Semitic. Fine, then I'm anti-Semitic. Just kidding. I'm the same kind of anti-Semitic as Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib. Woke anti-Semites. But so we already have the Muslim awareness, the Islam awareness. So we don't need Ilhan or Rashida. So I would block him in a room with AOC and Linda Sarsour. Linda Sarsour could prove to him that Islam's a religion of peace, while AOC could convince him that fossil fuels are a waste of time and we need to act. We need to be as mature as that Swedish 10-year-old. Are you looking forward to Coppercab beating up and annihilating your brother? Yes, I'm looking very forward to that. I heard there was a film crew down there this weekend filming him training in a 30 for 30 type of way. I believe they're going to be doing the same to my brother. And then when he finally launches his new show, which will probably be in a million years, he's going to have the 30 for 30 and the actual fight and a bunch of other stuff ready to rock. I think it's stupid. And that was, by the way, that was from Gavin McInnes, which sounds like a fake name. And then this is Jim Satala. Here's a donation to get Gavin an anal rain dance. All right, if that works. Vegan love. I love the sound of that. In high school, a mean girl called my wife Mamuna a stupid packy. Could you apologize on behalf of her hate? Yes, I would like to apologize to Mamuna right now for you being called a stupid packy. It's an ironic term because I bet you're Indian, judging by your name. You sound Hindu. Ki hal chale yar. You're a pyari larki. And everything is tik-tak when you're around Tika. Khuda Hafiz. And Pakistan Zinzabad. Pakistan Zinzabad. Allah Akbar. But I bet you're Indian. And I bet he was calling you a packy because he's stupid and he doesn't understand that India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sikhs and Hindus and Muslims are all different and they're all beautiful and wonderful. And so it's sort of like in Vietnam where they called them gooks because they understood the I am gook, which means I am Korean. And that was used in the Korean War. And these dumb asshole racists just keep recycling the same racial epithets the same way World War II recycled the same mud from World War I. So in a way, you've already had your victory, Mamuna, because when he called you a Paki, he was saying, I don't even know where fucking Pakistan is. And I'm glad he doesn't, because if he went anywhere near Pakistan or India, me and my Kashmiri brothers would blow a hole through his fucking white head. And I don't mean a zit, because if you have a zit, you would like your white head popped. Just the bullet would just graze the top and get the pus out. I mean his white entire head. What do we got here? Now I'm going back in time. Double Dog Bear is really supporting the cause this game, and I really appreciate that. Is that Owen Benjamin? Birds are super woke. The males of 70% of bird species don't have penises. Awesome. I've actually considered cutting mine off. You know how you can remove your penis and balls safely? You take twine and you wrap it around your balls and cock like a cock ring. And over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, you notice it goes from like a pink hue to more of a green. And then when it gets dark blue, you should be able, you don't want to yank too hard. You should be able to just sort of tug at it. And you know when you have a loose tooth and you can sort of wiggle it, you should sort of be able to wiggle it. You'll hear a bit of tearing. It should be painless. And you should, if you can wait that long, and don't force it. If you start to see blood, maybe stop, wait a few more days, add more twine. But you should be able to see what looks like sort of a beat that someone's taken a cheese grater to.
Jesus.
And it's just sort of a glowing dark red beat with a scab that's formed from the lack of blood going. And then you can just throw your penis in the garbage. Remember that guy in Gawker who removed his cock and balls and he had kind of a butthole in the front? There's a name for that. See if you can look him up. He cut his penis off because it hurt. He said his penis just hurt, which is weird. Yeah, what's he called again? You can look this up on your own. The article? Nullo. But what's the actual article called? So people can look it up. I still unload. This man is a nullo who removed his penis and balls. That's a hero as far as I'm concerned. And a warrior. They have male vagina organs, this is a guy talking about birds, called cloaca, that they press against a female's vagina. How do we get the other 30% woke? You know, one thing we could do to help the bird population is kill cats. Because cats they devastate the bird population. And I'm a vegan, and I worked with PETA. I don't work with them anymore. I got fired. But I've always recommended, if you're an animal rights activist and you genuinely care about the bird population, kill a cat. For every one cat you kill, you've saved about 100 birds' lives. So the math of it is it's sort of like when we killed all those dogs to prevent kill shelters at PETA. You end up ahead. When are you converting to Islam? Stella Antochi, that's an excellent question. I think right now. You hear me?
Right now?
Yeah. I'm converting to Islam right now.
Do I have to do anything? Do I have to recite a thing?
It's all in here. It's in here. I hereby accept right now. I accept Prophet Muhammad as my personal savior. And I would like to become Muslim now. I don't know what else I do. I don't want to go to a mosque. I like their writing. Cool. It looks like graffiti. So yes, thank you. That was a really good idea, and I just did it, and it's awesome. What else do we got here? All right, I think we're done with all the money people who really care about socialism. And now we're going to be stuck to the cheap asses who don't want to smash capitalism. You got one I haven't read? No, everything you say is wrong. My cats are racist. Well, that just disappeared really fast. I barely got it. But they're really zipping in here. Folks, if you don't pay, I can't see you. And I know that sounds weird hearing a socialist say that.
There's a couple that aren't showing.
Miles, my kids are 3 and 6. Is that too late for an abortion? I'm fairly sure this would lessen humanity's carbon footprint. Thanks, comrade. If your children are white, yes, you should abort them at any age, especially if they're male. But if your children are people of color, especially female, you should have them cloned. Make more of them. All right, we're down to the last 10 minutes here, guys. So this better be fucking good. Oh, look, Zakir Naik can convert you online. That sounds fun. All right, here's one from Mr. Corgi Talks. No offense, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I'm supposed to read out everyone's name, but no one uses their real name. I think we talked about this last podcast. Why do you give a shit if I yell out your made-up name? Who does that amuse? You and your brother? Alrighty. Miles, who wins a fist fight between Steven Crowder and Owen Benjamin? Uhuru and defend Gavin? I like that question a lot, actually. Here's the thing about Crowder. He's a beast. He's probably 6'4", and he trains in martial arts and judo and stuff like that, which is awesome. But I don't know how those convert to the street. Now, Owen Benjamin is even taller than Steven, so he has that reach, that extra reach. And we just saw on the weekend, I don't know how I know this, but Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia, and we saw that reach is everything. And you can go up 2 weight classes if you want, and you can train for weeks to get hit in the side and be able to take body shots. But when that guy has that extra length on you, he's going to get you. And Owen also developed his strength, lifting logs and stuff. So it's a fascinating fight because outside of the reach discrepancy, it's 2 big men, but one's experience is in training to fight, and the other's experience is in just doing heavy shit dude shit. I know I'm sounding a lot like Gavin right now, and believe me, I resent that as much as you do. This is a very tough one, and I'm going to go with Steven Crowder because guys who take wrestling and shit, they always have that weird move where they get you in a thing and then they have their toes. This is why I stopped watching MMA because there's so much toes. But they get their legs around you and they have their feet are like this in a thing and they're like, and they have your arm in a thing. And it's not necessarily strong, but it's just like basically a trick. And you're like, fuck, I can't breathe. Tap out, tap out. And then you can't tap out because it's a street fight. But very good question. And I appreciate you. Marcos Santos. Say proud of your boy, you commie. You want me to sit here and say proud of your boy, Uhuru? Like I give a shit about that gang of Nazis? I'm glad they're facing a year in prison for defending themselves against some fucking brilliant protesters who had the smarts to ambush them and who have de Blasio, the Attorney General, and the governor on their side and somehow magically get free lawyers whenever they get in shit. I'm glad that they're fucked. What does Mile think of albinos? They're white but a minority. I agree with most Africans when it comes to albinos, and I think their blood is magic. I think they have magical powers. I think they're voodoo. They should be killed, but not in a mean way. I think when you kill an albino, as the African culture says, you liberate them, and then you get that blood, and even if you don't drink it to become younger and fight all disease, you can sell it for a lot of money. And ultimately, albino blood can save like 100 lives a liter. So I think the Africans are right on that one. Kill them and use their magic blood. You will never stand in the way of our plan to put handicaps in concentration camps and make them do forced labor for the war effort, is what a Trump supporter just told me. I'm not remotely surprised. And by the way, that's why I say punch a Nazi in the face. Every time you see a Trump person, punch him in the face. Don't stealing my ideas, commie. I think you mean don't steal my ideas, commie. I want to start a fund, income through crowdfunding. Advertising is the fund. Supporting alternative media personalities through Super Chat. My card is max, sorry. But you did spend $13, anti-profit, and we really, really appreciate that. My buddy Rob's girlfriend Melissa thinks it is appropriate to put welfare on her resume and LinkedIn. Is she woke? Yes. When you are on welfare, when you're on employment insurance, when you're on food stamps, you have a job. Your boss happens to be the people. And that's who really has the power. So in a way, You are working at the most powerful job in the country. You are a direct employee, a direct worker of the people. So when we go to these rallies, a lot of times we'll have a sign that says industrial workers of the world unite and workers unite. And people go, but you're unemployed. And I go, no, I'm not. I'm on benefits. I'm working with the people. The people recognize that I'm not willing to work right now. And I have given many opportunities to women of color. So I'm actually working at a job. I'm actually kind of at a job fair. If every time I get a job offer, I say, sorry, give it to a woman of color, I'm actually basically running a job fair for women of color. And society, the taxpayer, is paying me for that. So I'm very employed, actually. I'm job redistributing. I never thought of that before. That's a good one. Lexapro. I was kicked out of the extra racist Orange County. Yeah. And you know why racists like going to Orange County? Because that's their race, orange people. That's why they have Captain Cheeto in the White House. Uh-oh. I just pushed a weird button. You know when you give your dad your phone to show him something and then he hands it back to you because he pushed a button and everything's gone? Oh, there it is. I was kicked out of the extra racist Orange County, California chapter of the Proud Boys. Let's start our own gang and kick their asses. Yes, please. Let's start a new one called the Shame Boys. And we recognize what we should really be doing with our time, and that is recognizing that we should be ashamed of ourselves. What do we got here? That's a guy. That's a guy. Concentration camps was pretty harsh. All right, I think I've said all these paying guys. Now I have to sit. I have to. You know, there's a terrible instinct when I'm looking at all these ones who pay, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I'm man enough to admit this, or sorry, genderless enough to admit this. Sometimes when I read a $100 message, I feel like it has more value. And then when I'm done reading the messages that pay and I have to go in to the normal chat, I feel like I'm lowering myself. That's because I've been brainwashed by this capitalist society into thinking less of the people who pay. I mean, don't pay. I'm done with that. From now on, I'm just going to read the poor people's messages. We've got 5 minutes left. Stop paying. Don't pay. Let's only read messages of the poor. Miles, why does Gavin hate dogs? I don't know why. He says he doesn't say he hates his dog. He says that it could live or die. He doesn't give a shit. He feels nothing for it. It's just a ball of fur that has been trained after centuries to unconditionally love him. And it's pissed on the carpet a few times, and that really pisses him off, I think. The funny thing about communism is that it advocates the entire reason. It doesn't work. What? These messages are moving too fast. This is the problem with working with the poor. There's so many of them. Gavin, throw a punch like a girl. Good point. You can start with one of mine. Duh. I don't know what the hell that means. Maybe if I shrink these a bit. They're just zipping through the screen here. Miles, listening to you makes my vag shrivel up. You know what? That's your prerogative. If I was to have a problem with that, that would be rape. So when women tell me that they don't find me attractive and they don't like men who are weak, I go, that's your voice, and you're using your voice, and I respect that. And when I go to bars and stuff and I hit on women and they say, no, thank you, and then they leave with some asshole on a motorbike, yeah, it hurts. It hurts to see them only date assholes. It hurts for me to be alone for a long-ass time. But I also think if I was to question that, I'm questioning women. And I believe all women. So if women don't want to fuck me, I believe them. Undocumented citizens have a right to carry. They also have a right to welfare and free housing. Like, look at the way they treat the refugees in Britain and the Somali refugees in Canada. We need to treat our Mexican illegal immigrants that well. Do you listen to System of a Down? No, they're racist. Super chats are literally racist. I agree. Che Guevara, something about him that vanished. He is racist. All women rock. I couldn't agree more. Communism doesn't work, and neither do you. It's never been actively tried. Every time you've seen it, it's an abomination. It's a bastardization. True communism has worked. Like anarchist gatherings. Those are truly communists. Miles, you the reason for barren wombs. Stop. I mean, that hurts. I'm not going to lie. Talking about how unattractive I am to women is not fun. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. We got to go. I'm going to stop the streaming. Are there any more people paying? People that matter? Oh, fuck. Why did I say that? See? I'm brainwashed. I stole this $5 from a black transgender handicap foxen. Does this $5 make you feel better? No, it makes me feel worse. I'm glad. You know what should happen to you? What happened to Anthony Cumia? When he harassed a trans woman of color, she punched him in the face. I hope you get punched in the face, and I hope all Nazis get punched in the face. This is Gavin McInnes, and I'm out. Peace.